Welcome to the Higher Power Travel Channel. And for those of you that have been following us for some time, thank you, first of all, for that. But also, secondly, this is a travel channel, but as you know, sometimes we share some of our personal experiences along the way in having obtained our D7 visa and relocating much of our time from Hawaii to Portugal. And that the fact that we've bought two properties in Portugal, one in Nazaré, the other on the island of Madeira. We thought we would just share our personal experiences with you so that you can get a feel for what the process is like, the taxes that are involved when you purchase a property, the difference between purchasing as a principal residence or as an investor. So we've done both, and what it's like purchasing on mainland Portugal versus an island like Madeira, and also why we bought when we did and where we did in terms of the demand and the forecast and appreciation, what our monthly expenses are, just in case there's some of you from the US or Canada or other parts of the world who may be interested and curious to know about the purchasing of real estate in Portugal. So stick with us, and we're going to share with you all of these details right away. We are Dennis and Min. Come join us on our traveling adventures around the world. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. We really thank you for that. And share this content and like and comment as you wish. So we're going to get right into our personal journey into how it came to be that we purchased real estate in Hawaii. So just to give you a little bit of a backstory, Min and I are from the island of Oahu, where we've lived for many years of our life. And as we are nearing retirement age, we decided to try to consider other places that are less expensive to live on a fixed income once we hit that retirement point in our lives. And we recognize that there's certain countries that our money is just going to go further and allow us to be able to do that and be able to retire earlier than if we were to stay in Hawaii. So after scouting out several countries of interest, we decided to focus on Portugal, where after a 5-week scouting trip, we just fell in love with the country, and we fell in love with this quaint little charming town of Nazaré along the Silver Coast of Portugal. And along the way of our journey through Portugal, we were looking at real estate with the help of realtors that we could find along the way. And we just happened to see this one property, this 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in Nazaré with an ocean view, which was really kind of high on our list. And we just did the unthinkable. We did what I would never recommend any of my real estate clients in Hawaii to do, is to just buy spur of the moment like that. But that's what we did. So we'll share with you later in this video about any regrets about that decision. But we ended up making a contract the next day, and we went back to Hawaii to put our house on the market with the plan and the intention of being able to purchase this 2-bedroom condo in Nazaré with proceeds from the sale of our home in Hawaii. So this was in late 2022, and once we got back to Hawaii, we put everything in motion to sell our home and begin the D7 visa process, which allows us to become residents in Portugal after 5 years. We put our paperwork in and applied for the D7 visa, and we purchased this 2-bedroom condo in Nazaré from afar, from Hawaii. The whole process, I have to say, was actually a lot easier than I ever expected it to be, especially purchasing in a foreign country. We did end up getting an attorney here based out of Lisbon who helped us with the process and the paperwork. So all of that went very smoothly. And like I said, we signed the paperwork, everything from Hawaii. And it wasn't until a couple of months later, after we closed in early 2023, that we were back in Portugal and we were able to get the keys and move in, which was very exciting. Now, one of the requirements for the D7 visa, which is also known kind of as a retirement visa, is you have to show proof of a 1-year lease in Portugal, or that you actually own a property in the country of Portugal. So that's why this fulfilled that requirement in purchasing this unit in Nazaré for the D7 purposes of being able to obtain our visa. So why Nazaré? Well, again, we have other videos that talk more in detail about our decision of Nazaré. We actually went to about 35 different towns and cities of various sizes all throughout Portugal, from way down south in the Algarve all the way north to Porto and beyond, and everything in between. And again, it was Nazaré where we really felt the most comfortable. So again, check out our other videos if you want to know more about why we chose Nazaré for a place to live. So briefly about our place in Nazaré, it's a newer construction building, just a few years old when we had purchased it. We purchased a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo with a parking stall that's covered, and also includes storage, which is very nice in the garage area. And it is a 10-minute walk to the beach, 5-minute walk to the market, and it's just a very good location, and it's kind of set up on a hill, so we have a nice view of the ocean and of the Sitio bluff that extends out into the ocean. So we're just really grateful and blessed that we found this place, and the timing worked out great. And it's about 1,000 square feet, so it's a really comfortable size for both of us. Not too big, certainly much smaller than the home that we had come from in Hawaii, but it's just a perfect match for us and our lifestyles. So for those of you that are interested, we're going to be very transparent with you on what our costs were to purchase this Nazaré condo. Now, as a disclaimer, please consult your tax professionals, your legal professionals for anything related to purchasing a home in Portugal, whether it's the right decision for you or not. I can't tell you, but I'm just going to go off of what our personal experience was like. I will tell you that one thing that really took me back is the amount of tax that you have to pay when you purchase a home. The tax rates are pretty high, depending upon the purchase price. And so it's a progressive scale. So the higher the value of the property is, then the higher the tax is going to be. And the tax rate is called IMT, and also known as a transfer tax. That is going to range from 0%, which is, I think, maybe under 160,000 euro. But the tax rate ranges from 0% for a property priced in, under 200,000. And as you get into the 200, 300, 400,000 euros, that's going to go up to as high as 8% for that IMT tax. Now, there is a deductible amount that they apply to that rate. So our price that we paid for our 2-bedroom condo, this was end of 2022 that we locked into this price, was 335,000 euro. At the time, the US dollar rate was very, very similar, almost identical actually to the euro. So it might have maybe been about $340,000 to $345,000 US that we paid. We paid about $12,000, $13,000 at that time for that IMT tax. In addition to this IMT, there is what's called a stamp duty tax that I believe, and again, always check with your tax advisor in Portugal about this, is 0.8%. Again, this is when you are purchasing a property, and then you still have the property taxes on top of that, which in Portugal, compared to Hawaii and the US as a whole, are very much at a lower rate than they are in the US. So that's a good thing in Portugal. We pay very little in property taxes compared to where we were in Hawaii. If I'm not mistaken, I think the total taxes that we paid for this condo in Nazaré was about 14,000 euros. So probably close to around 15,000 US dollars. Okay, I know some of you are thinking, Dennis, can you just get to the bottom line? How much do you pay for your condo on average every month? So how much of the utilities, taxes, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not gonna break it down because, utilities fluctuate every month, for example. But I will tell you that with our 2-bedroom, condo in Nazaré, our monthly expenses average around 350 euros. So a little bit more in US dollars, but about 350 euros per month. Now that includes our HOA fees, and there's a pool to clean, so that's included. We also have insurance in that mix. We also have our water, our electricity, and our internet, all included in that 350 euro amount. So probably, less than $400 US per month. Okay, so we told you all about Nazaré. If there's anything I left out that you want to know about, just drop me a comment. I will be happy to respond. So when we were also there, we recognized that we had some money left over. We wanted to see if we could buy an investment property, and where would we buy that property. So we had a couple $100,000 we wanted to invest somewhere, and just something that we could rent out on a long-term basis, or maybe short-term if the location warranted that. And certainly for $200,000, we couldn't. You can't buy anything in Hawaii. We looked across the U.S. Not many good options there. And the other thing was that if we can buy it in a nice location, then it's a place, if we can rent it out short term, we can also block out dates where we can stay there ourselves. So we thought, well, why not just have a vacation home in Portugal? Right? So I'd been hearing a lot about Madeira, which is a small island off the coast of Morocco that was discovered by the Portuguese about 500 years ago, and it is called the Hawaii of the Atlantic. So we were curious about Madeira, so we actually went there on a couple of scouting trips looking at property there, and we fell in love with Madeira as well. But on our scouting trip, we must have seen 15 properties, and it wasn't until our last day, just before we had to head to the airport, the realtor we were working with there showed us a condo that was under construction. And long story short, we went through with it, and we decided to purchase this condo. That's another thing I would caution people, though, if you're wanting to buy in a brand new condo development. A lot of these, well, maybe not a lot, but I've seen many occasions where these projects, they run out of money, people lose money, they don't get finished in time. It takes double, triple. You just see these empty shells of concrete buildings, just the structures, the shell. Nothing's finished. You can see through them, so there's no interior walls, and they've been like that for years. We see some in Nazaré, but you see them all over, and it just goes to show you that it's a very risky business. And again, this is not the case across the board, but you just have to be very careful. We felt very comfortable because this was a very well-known international developer that was building this new construction condo, and it was in a very good location in the San Martino area of Madeira, which is just outside of the capital of Funchal. So we came to learn that it was a really great location. It was over budget, but we decided to go for it because even though it was a small one bedroom, about 500 square feet, it came with a parking stall. It actually had really good size storage also, and it was on the ocean. And the difference is this building had in its bylaws an AL license, meaning that if you wanted to do short-term rentals, it was legally allowed to do so. And since we have purchased this unit, they have cracked down, like I said earlier, in Madeira, where it is very difficult to get these AL licenses now, which is basically a license that allows you to rent your property out on a short-term basis for whether it's 3 days, 7 days at a time. Think Airbnb, bookings.com, right? So those are the kind of platforms that are allowed under this AL license. So it just so happened that at that time in early 2023 is when there was a lot of buzz and talk about minimizing and limiting these AL licenses in certain parts of the country. The government was really starting to crack down. Now, we saw that firsthand in Hawaii, especially on the island of Oahu some years ago. And we just kind of saw the writing on the wall where it was going to be more and more limited. And here in late 2025, they have now closed off any new licenses for Nazaré and also for the area in and around Funchal on the island of Madeira. So compared to everything else that we had seen in Madeira, we could have purchased something for $200,000 in a more rural area of the island, but we didn't. We just decided to bite the bullet. And so rather than really, go into that area where it would be uncomfortable for us, we decided to keep to funding this investment condo with $200,000, but we got a small loan for the difference. So the purchase price ended up being comparable to our two-bedroom condo in Nazaré. So we had locked into this price, which was around 326,000 euros back in 2023. So that was about a year and a half before it was actually completed. So we got the keys back in November of 2024. So meanwhile, from when that building was first being built and to when we bought it, prices had gone up quite a bit. And from when we purchased it to when we closed on it in November 2024, prices had gone up. As an investor, seeing that there was this huge demand and surge in foreigners wanting to go there as tourists, I thought this would be a good investment. So we had $200,000 in our budget, and we ended up spending another 125,000 euro. So what bridged that difference? Well, of course, we ended up taking out a loan from a company based in that was in Nazaré, so that was very convenient. And like the purchase process in Nazaré, it was actually very smooth, and we were able to get a 5-year ARM at around a 4% interest rate, which generally speaking, the interest rates in Portugal are a little bit lower than what we would find in the US. So that's a good thing. And our plan is to pay that off before the 5 years comes up. Do note that one thing that we learned is that when you take out a loan in Portugal, there are restrictions and requirements, just like anywhere else. But one thing that's different is that they will only allow a loan up to a certain age. And so once I think it's 70, I'll have to double check that. But if you're 65, meaning you can only get a loan for 5 years, right? So the younger you are, the more years you have, which is why an ARM might be a better option for some of you that are considering that. Another thing is that it's also required, and perhaps if you have more of a down payment than we did, it's not required, but one thing that you have to pay for is life insurance. Not mortgage insurance, but it's an actual life insurance policy that me and Min each had to take out so that in the event of our death, that the mortgage is paid off. So it's not a significant amount, but I think it's around $150 a month for the two of us. Min is younger than I, so her premium is younger. So just note that if you take out a loan, you will most likely have to be on the hook for that life insurance policy also for the life of the loan. So yes, we bit the bullet on this property in Madeira, but it really was all about the location. We could have stayed within our budget, but doing our research, and I always encourage people to do their research, we realized that this was a real high-end area for the island of Madeira. There was a brand new market that had just been built right across the street, so very convenient. Right on the ocean, and there's a lift that actually takes people right down to the boardwalk where you can walk all along the ocean for quite a ways. And so it's just a very beautiful setting, really nice amenities, secured building. Again, we have a parking that's covered along with a pretty large storage area. And like our place in Nazaré, though it's not quite as big, it does have a small patio or lanai for being outdoors as well. We decided as soon as we possibly could was to get an AL license for this Madeira condo. So like I said, the bylaws allowed for this ahead of time in the building, but you still have to apply for your own individual AL license, which is what we did. So happy to say we were able to qualify for this AL license in early 2025 after having closed on the unit in late 2024. And we interviewed several property management companies there, and we've been very happy with the one that we've chosen, and happy to say that they've done a great job, and we average between 90 to 95% occupancy. Because it does have this AL license, we have the freedom to block out any dates that we want to go and spend our time there in the condo as well. Now, I will say that we did use a different attorney than we did for our Nazare condo when we were purchasing in Funchal. It just made sense to have a local attorney. So we used this attorney for the process of the transaction of this condo based out of Funchal. And what was nice is that they also work in the same building, the same office that has a CPA firm in-house as well. So the CPA firm I was using prior was based out of Lisbon, a little bit on the higher side. So I decided to save some money and just have it be all in one place. So now my CPA and my attorney are working out of the same office. So it's very, very convenient. So both CPA and legal know, they're on the same team and they know our situation very well. Okay, so you're probably wondering, Dennis, what is the bottom line? How much are your monthly expenses for this 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo in Madeira? It is about 280 to 300 euros per month. So that would be between roughly around $300 to $325, $330 US. So that would be our maintenance fee every month, which has a pool and quite a large ground security. So that would be for the maintenance fee, our taxes, property taxes, the insurance, and utilities. So that's water, electric, internet. All would be around $300. So looking back, we have to ask ourselves, having done this, having purchased a residence in Nazare and an investment condo on the island of Madeira, was it worth it? And do we have any regrets? And we can both happily say we have no regrets. We're glad we did it when we did. Keep in mind, we purchased both of these condos in early to mid 2023. So by the time you're watching this, a lot has changed. Like I said, the NHR, we were able to lock into that at that time, which was great. Obviously, like is the case pretty much everywhere, property values were lower than they are today. You can see online a lot of information about the real estate market, what the forecasts are. People are expecting, saying that there might be a big crash. There's all this doom and gloom. I don't see that for Portugal, but I'm no soothsayer or prophet. I'm just sharing that I believe and have a lot of confidence in the strength of the real estate market moving forward. And when you look at the areas of growth in Portugal in the last few years, the Silver Coast in and around Nazaré and the island of Madeira, Funchal, have really accelerated a lot and appreciated. So we're very grateful for that. So I think both of our condos right now are probably worth about 70 to 100,000 euros more than when we first purchased. So in that short span of time since we've owned them, from an investment perspective, I think we've done pretty good. We don't like to see prices go up that crazy because we'd like to see locals be able to afford a home where they're living as well. And we don't plan on selling any of these properties anytime soon. So whether the appreciation goes slow or fast, it doesn't really matter to us. But we do hope that the government can make things easier for younger people, especially to purchase homes in Portugal. We've made some wonderful friends. We love Nazaré. We love taking trips around the country. And of course, it's such close proximity to other parts of Europe and the world. So we really enjoy the lifestyle there, and Hawaii's not going anywhere. We still go back to Hawaii and visit friends and some family there. And so we really hope that this information that is beneficial to you, especially if you're considering making a move or relocating to Portugal. Drop us a comment. Let us know if you have any questions at all. We're here to help you wherever we can. Thanks again for subscribing and appreciate you sharing the content. And we will catch you on the next video. Happy travels.